Hey guys! Another week has gone by. You know what that means? It's the weekend! But, more importantly, it's also time for a brand new King of Fighters 14 reveal trailer. Just as we've been doing for the last few weeks, let's take a closer look at the 11th trailer to see what interesting details we can find. Mui Mui is finally officially introduced to King of Fighters 14. For those of you who didn't know, she was part of the leaked characters list, and will be teamed up with Love Heart and Nakoruru, both who have yet to be announced. So, who is Mui Mui, and how come you might not have heard of her before? She has actually been a part of SNK history for over 10 years now, but unless you live in Japan and play slot machines, no one would really blame you for not knowing this, as she's the protagonist of a series of Japan-exclusive patchy slot games. Patchy slots are fairly common and can be found in pachinko parlors or in dedicated sections of amusement centers. Throughout most of the last decade, SNK has been putting a lot of focus on making these machines. So you can find Art of Fighting, Last Blade, Samurai Spirits, Fatal Fury, and King of Fighters patchy slot games. Not only that, but they have also been creating new brands and characters. Last year, they announced that they would pull out of the patchy slot business and focus on making console and mobile games in response to revised pachinko laws and regulations. So that's the end of that chapter. Meanwhile, King of Fighters 15 was announced, and the series have always been intended as a reunion of various SNK franchises in fighting game format, much like Nintendo did with Smash Bros. So it makes sense that their history with patchy slot games would also be represented. As I mentioned earlier, the latest revealed combatant comes from Dragon Gall, a series with an ancient Chinese fantasy setting featuring kung fu battles, huge dragons, and pandas. There are actually 4 games in Mui Mui series. The original Dragon Gall, released in 2004, Dragon Gall Ryuto Densetsu no Ogon Ryu, released in 2011, Dragon Gall Shura no Yabou, released in 2013, and finally, Dragon Gall Souryu no Tatakai, released in 2015. Besides that, she's had cameos in various other patchy slot games from SNK Playmore, including King of Fighters. So while this might not be her first true King of Fighters appearance, it is the first time where she's actually playable. Her games revolve around her trying to recover her clan's Hogyoku by completing challenges and venturing high and low. She happens to have dragon blood, is super strong, and can turn into an awakened mode, which makes her even more powerful. For her transition to KOF, Mui Mui has gone through a few cosmetic alterations. While her hair is brown, it always looked orange in the games. She also has 2 blue polka dot hair clips, which she didn't previously wear. Concerning her costume, she shows a bit of cleavage now. She wears her golden armband and new black bracelets. She's also carrying a small panda-shaped pouch bag strapped to her shoulder, which is made to look like her friend Pui Pui. Another new detail is a golden ankle bracelet, probably to add a bit of asymmetry to her design. She looks a bit like Zhang Fei, who she pretty much replaces now. Her voice and kung fu fighting style are not too dissimilar, although her dragon powers and personality will be what makes Mui Mui stand out. The first shot opens with a big Chinese dragon circling her as she goes into her crouching stance. She's most likely about to perform her climax desperation move, as the flaming dragon effect itself was used before some of her specials in her games. Actually, the pose she strikes is also directly taken from there. As you'll see, SNK has recreated a lot of her original animations and poses from her original games. The shot then cuts to her delivering a double punch, followed by a fun-looking combo that ends in a cross-stance double punch, which sends the opponent flying. The next shot has her perform an anti-air double punch attack that stops Kyo's RED kick. Next, we see what looks like a command throw, which places a big distance between Mui Mui and her opponent. In the following shot, we see a very high kick, followed by her Ryuso Kyaku, which looks a lot like Chun-Li's Tensho Kyaku, and might also serve as a good anti-air option. Next up, this is probably her victory pose between rounds. She strikes a V-sign pose while saying Daishori, great victory. Then, you see an arching dragon punch going in circles, launching Mui Mui towards Ralph, and hitting him multiple times. I wonder if we'll have some control over the trajectory. It seems to cover a lot of space. Before cutting to the next character reveal, Mui Mui performs her Higi the Choryoha, a cool looking projectile which also appears to be hitting Clark multiple times. Later in the trailer, we see her charging for it, and finally a shot of her leaping in the air, about to deliver another super move. One thing we don't see in this trailer is Mui Mui's awakened form. Hopefully that will be in KOF in some way, as we could see some really cool attacks come out of it. Before moving on to the next character, I just have one question. Will they try to link Mui Mui with Kenso and Bao in some way? The series have been making a huge deal out of the dragon spirit power that both of these characters have. Mui Mui, coming from a dragon clan, possessing dragon orbs, and originating from a world set in the distant past, could finally be the missing link in the story to make it move forward. Or not, but this looks like a good opportunity for it. Next up, Kukri joins the cast of King of Fighters, and he's a brand new character. He seems to follow the theme of an Egyptian mummy, though the most prominent feature in his design is the hoodie which completely hides his face. The name Kukri itself comes from an inwardly curved knife from Nepal, which is believed to be one of the oldest knives in the world. Many of the shots show him having bright yellow eyes. He's also wearing a blue earring, and has silver-colored braided long hair, which sticks out from the back of his hoodie. The bottom trim of his hooded trench coat is cut in zigzags, and he wears a one-piece black uniform with high neck collar underneath. His hands are wrapped in bandages, and he wears 2 silver bracelets on each arm. His main gimmick is that of controlling sand. You can even hear it in the last line. Today's forecast is Sandstorm. The first attack we see is a sand projectile, which follows the style of similar attacks from Terry, Kyo, and Yori. Next, he completely outdoes Kyo's RED kick by launching himself in the air with a sand pillar and doing a higher cross-up kick of his own. Next shot has him do a 2-hit combo followed by sand-propelled breakdancing? Awesome! Looks like Kukri's take on what a Tatsumaki should be like. Next shot has him throw Andy. Then, he dodges Kyo's Onyaki, leaving a sand trail behind as he brings down a huge falling pillar of sand, hitting his opponent. Next shot, another throw-like attack, this time with Kukri getting on top of Andy and putting sand in his eyes. Ouch! On the next shot, Kukri teleports to dodge Andy's Hishoken, which he follows up with 2 attacks. The teleport leaves a sand image of him behind. Next shot, Psycho Crusher? Finally, a huge sand wave that Kukri rides, and the damage apparently comes from Kukri connecting with the opponent and not the sand itself. The leak mentioned that Kukri will join Sylvie as well as another masked character in the official invitation team. It is said that he's a member of the organization behind the events of the Ash Saga of King of Fighters, though the hoodie he wears looks pretty different. If this is true, then I wonder if he's a brand new character or not. See, they go out of their way to hide his face and make him look mysterious, but maybe it's so that the other characters can't find out his identity. His fighting moves and style obviously do not match with any from previously playable characters in the KOF universe. However, he does share some similarities with Shroom, a story-only character. He's tall, has pale skin, yellow eyes, and smiles when attacking. KOF 13's ending also shows him and Rimelo meeting up with Shion for reasons. Maybe we get to find out what happened and finally get to play as him? Of course, nothing rules out that Kukri is a brand new character who is just stylistically hiding his face like Taokaka in Blaze Blue. Well, that's it for this week's reveal. Interestingly enough, they also both look like the type of characters who would appeal to two completely different demographics. You have your colorful, bright red, high-pitched, cutesy martial artist in Mui Mui, whereas Kukri is a pale, black-clothed, magic-using cool guy. Personally, I think that both characters look like a lot of fun, and I can't wait to try them out. Excluding the bosses, we now have all the teams from the leaked information represented with at least one character or more. Who will be revealed next week? Another World, China, South America, and Women Fighters are the only teams with only one character revealed for them so far. So they are good candidates. Will Joe finally get a trailer? Let me know what you think. We'll be back again next week for another trailer analysis. Thanks, and until next time!